Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Hello, good morning and a very warm welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this wonderful morning is my colleague, Bandula Jayasekara. Good morning, Bandula.
Good morning, Faraz.
Are you ready to be motivated this morning?
Yeah, how was Face the Nation?
Face the Nation was good. I was in bed.
Yeah, or Face Faraz.
Yes.
Or Face Shamil.
Indeed, it was a bit like that. But it was a good program, Face the Nation. You must watch it. It broadcasts every Monday night at 9:30, live from the studios in Ratmalana, the Stein Studios. And joining us this morning on Newsline is Dr. Asoka Jinadasa. He's got a great title. He is a human motivational developer and an author and an engineer by training. Good morning, Dr. Jinadasa.
Good morning. Wonderful to be on your show.
Thank you very much. You're the author of The Flying Penguin. Penguins don't fly, do they?
Well, they do, under life-threatening circumstances. Normally, penguins, they swim in the water. But if there is a predator seal lurking under the ice, they fly out of the water 5 or 6 feet to land on ice at a higher level. So penguins fly under life-threatening circumstances.
Yeah.
And so do we. You hear of a mother lifting an incredibly heavy weight to free a child trapped under it. So I realized that both penguins and humans, we create miracles in life under life-threatening circumstances. Now, being an engineer, I wanted to find out, can we do it all the time? Mm-hmm. And my book, Flying Penguin, is about how to create miracles in your life using the 6 dimensions of success.
Right. And, Doctor, you're a human potential developer. What does that mean? What do you do? Who do you do these things for? Who's your typical client? I've got a long list of questions.
Good. Well, go back to your childhood. You learn to talk without a teacher. You learn to walk without a teacher. And if you were given a smartphone when you were 2 years old, you know how it works. And that's not possible because you can't read. So every single child is born with this incredible human potential. Now, unfortunately, as they become more educated and they grow up, they don't lose it. It goes to sleep, this incredible power that we were born with. So, all the motivational books I read, all the gurus that I listened to, all the programs I attended, they never told me how I can create miracles the way I did as a child. So, I call that human potential development, which is unlearning, getting rid of the programs in your head which limit you. That's what I do.
Bandula and I are sort of some mature age. Do you think that there's any more potential left in us to be released?
I'm much older than you are.
Really?
Yes, I'm 70.
I think he looks 70.
Yeah, he looks a bit more than that, more than 70 or 75.
So what can you do for?
You should have met me when I was 60. I look 60.
So, Doctor, tell us, well, what's your typical client?
Well,
is it like DFCC?
I have top corporates like DFCC, Berendina Microfinance. Then I have
politicians.
Well, politicians need to be given this human potential development program, but I don't think they have the time to do that because they are busy playing politics.
So what do you do at DFCC? What do you teach the staff there?
Well, in any company that I work with, I don't teach them anything. I show them how to get rid of the negative programs that well-meaning parents and teachers put into your head, like don't run, duan nepa, natan nepa, panin. That EPA program is what limits us. And what I do, I help people how to get rid of that.
Right. And
but
the thing is that we
are inspired by a thought for the day in the morning. Mister, that keeps us going, isn't it?
That's right, it does. Now, in our instance, I think they may say, this EPA program still going on. but it's epa gahanda, epa kiyanda, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We say gahanda, karanda.
Good.
We don't say pa.
Excellent. That's what human potential is all about.
So is there something that you can do? We'll give you about 40 seconds to do it in. Is there an exercise you can do
with Faraz?
With Faraz,
I'll do the marking. I'll do the marking
First
with
of all,
Faraz.
at school you learn science, you learn mathematics, but they never teach you how to breathe. Right? Now the way we breathe is only 33% efficient.
Is it?
So imagine a car with a carburetor or an injection system which works only 33%.
Yeah.
The engine doesn't give you the full power. And this is typical of human beings. Because the way we normally breathe, we do very shallow breathing like this. So you have a lot of stagnant air in the lungs. So the first step to unleashing your potential is learning how to breathe.
Can you try?
You try, I'll watch. I'll do the marking. I have survived with breathing. I've survived all these years, so I'm not going to do that.
Well,
So
it's not
just
about
join us now.
This is not about
join us,
survival.
yeah,
This is becoming a superstar, even at 70.
yeah, so I think Faraz is the superstar. So let's.
All right. So
I will watch
for
this.
example, you take a deep breath, and normally you breathe out with the mouth, and you think your lungs are empty, so you breathe again. Your lungs are not empty. Now try this. Take a deep breath, breathe out with the mouth. Now blow hard. See, there's a lot of stagnant air.
I
Right.
saw his stomach going in, so that's it.
That's how you lose weight. If you want to reduce the size of your waist, these are fantastic exercise. That's why when you do sports, you have a high, right? Because oxygen is better than any drug. It's amazing. It doesn't cost anything.
Wonderful. And so this better breathing will lead to many other things.
Yeah, it's like, imagine a car. If your carburetor or your injection system is working at 100% efficiency,
Yeah.
with less fuel, you get more power. And there are other things like about what you eat and drink. That's another key. See, 70 years ago at Deniaya, there were no doctors. There was only one for the entire region. There was only one hospital. You go there either to die or in case of a difficult childbirth. Now, I didn't go there obviously because I didn't have those requirements. What was the reason? The answer, there were no supermarkets. Everything we ate was unprocessed. All the research in my book clearly proves that the cause of every single illness is processed food.
Maybe Faraz, we should show our viewers the book.
Indeed, yes, we should do that. It's the flying penguin. There you are. It's available in Colombo now, and it's what do you what can you?
So I can hold it
show?
maybe for him to capture it. Maybe.
Yes, John, do
show
some
the
work, Bandula.
Flying penguin.
Dr. Ashoka, have you developed a program, or can you adapt your program to those in Parliament?
So that's the.
Well, I'd love to do that. See, now let's talk about politics. The Sinhala word Deshapalana is much more expressive than politics, because politics has all kinds of connotations. Deshapalana means managing the nation.
Right.
So to manage
English is more politricks. That's how it is. On the tricks.
Sadly, yes, yeah. But Deshapalana is beautiful, managing the nation. So do they have the knowledge and the experience to manage the nation? If the answer is no, then I can help them with this.
They are unlikely to say no. How can you force them?
Well, first of all, do they accept the fact that they don't have the necessary knowledge and the skills to manage the nation? If they accept that.
They'll never.
Exactly, that's a problem. I can help people who accept the fact and say, hey, listen, I want to be a superstar in my field of endeavor. Then my 6-dimensional model gives them a complete toolbox. It's a cocktail of Oriental energy methods, latest discoveries in neuroscience, genetics, all of that. And I have captured that in a very little book. Even though the book is little, there are 130 online references.
I see. And it says here that your 6-dimensional model of success in leadership is the heart, the mind, passion, focus, body and health. So how do you deal with the heart and the mind?
The heart is about emotional intelligence. It's about caring for yourself, for the people around you, for the environment, animals, trees, the whole thing.
So, sorry, the heart deals with caring for others.
Emotional intelligence, if you want to use a technical term.
So when I care that my colleague Bandula has to jet off to Kurunagala and therefore I let him leave on time and I don't delay.
No, we don't jet off, we just go by road.
He goes off in his road. in his, yes, all right.
Yeah, just road.
Does that mean that that my heart's working and that I'm understanding him?
Well, you see, when you say heart, it's not the organ that pumps oxygen.
No.
The energy field of the heart is 5,000 times bigger than the energy field of the mind. That's amazing, right?
But if I can feel for Bandula and his need to get to Kurunagala on time, to meet his CB engineers, for example, why can't the politicians understand the difficulties that the people are facing?
Well, politicians use emotional intelligence in a very devious way. They use it to manipulate people. Right? So they pretend to care for you.
Very well said.
Until the election. They promise you anything.
And also like for us now during these floods, you know how they, you know, the way some of
some of the rice packets, the food packets that were distributed was a marketing exercise. It had their name stamped on it and their photographs.
But for us, you know,
that's taking marketing to a different level.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, you know, when these politicians are simply unable to feel for the common man, is that a sure sign of Asperger's syndrome?
Well,
their inability to feel.
They actually feel for the masses until election time.
Oh, okay.
Right? Take perfect example, Obama. Before he became president, what he said and what he did were the same. Now that he is a politician, what he says is not the same as what he does. So this is what happens to politicians. They become political after, and then staying in power is more important than anything else. So the entire focus, all what they talk about on television.
Asuka has got some good advice to Sri Lankan Airlines.
Okay.
Getting ready to fly.
Getting ready to fly on Sri Lankan Airlines.
But very interesting. He says flying skills are of little use unless you are willing to fly high and far.
Exactly.
Merci.
What's happening to Sri Lanka now?
Sri Lankan Airlines, anyone can fly with Sri Lankan when there's a clean balance sheet. Give it to us and we'll show you how it's done with the clean balance sheet. But you know, it's ridiculous. But no, really. So this inability to feel for the people and to feel of their needs, is it something that can be corrected?
Well, as a child, you felt a lot of things, right? You loved animals. Every child loves animals. They are very loving persons. But because of the conditioning and the shift from being a child with no responsibilities to becoming an adult, or at the other end of the extreme, becoming a politician, you use the emotional intelligence in a very devious way. Like, listen to the way they speak. They seem to speak from the heart. But is that true? Or is it a ruse to convince people to vote for them?
Or carrying babies.
Exactly, yeah.
Are you, or attending funerals, are you able to tell with your extensive knowledge, are you able to tell when a politician's speaking if he's telling porky pies?
Well, watch their body language. It's very interesting.
What do they do?
It's very difficult, unless you are a very good actor, to lie with your body. Listen to the tone of their voice, how they speak. Now, if the tone is very relaxed, right, and you connect with people, then you know they're speaking from the heart. But the thing is, actors do that too. So politicians become very good actors after they get appointed.
Doctor, as you're a citizen of Sri Lanka, you live in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
You heard about the bond scandal?
Yes.
No, you have?
Yes.
Good. When you see the governor of the central bank on television Are there any giveaway signs that he is guilty?
Well, assume he is guilty. The last thing he can do is to admit it.
Oh, really?
Well, if you're guilty of something and you're in front of a TV camera, you're not going to say, I'm sorry, I screwed up, please, I'm going to resign. You're not going to do that, right? So what you do, perfect example, in the affair between Monica Lewinsky and Clinton. Clinton was interviewed on television. Now in the US, the television programs are very hard-hitting. So they asked Clinton, is it true you had a relationship with Monica Lewinsky? He said, absolutely not. Now the people who knew body language knew the guy was lying.
He actually said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes.
And on that note, we're going for a quick break, and we'll come right back to get the rest of the Monica Lewinsky story from Dr. Asoka Junadasa. Stay tuned.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
Good morning again and welcome back to Newsline, where our guest this morning is Dr. Asoka Junadasa, the author of Flying Penguins and a motivational developer, human motivation developer. So back to President Clinton. His wife has been in the news in Sri Lanka over the last few days because of that attempt she'd made in May 2009, on the 9th of May 2009, to try and block IMF facilities to Sri Lanka, when she was faced with a certain knowledge that the government of Sri Lanka was about to defeat the LTTE. Now then, so we're talking about Mr. Clinton now.
Now, as you said, Faraz, he said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Now, all the people who knew body language knew the guy was lying because he's right-handed.
Oh, okay.
See, when you lie, unless you are a very good actor, your body gets confused, right? Mm-hmm. So he did that, and all the body language experts knew, aha, you are lying because you are right-handed. So using body language, when you know how to interpret it, using the tone of voice, the gestures, you know whether somebody is lying or not, unless they are a good professional actor. And politicians become very good professional actors after they get elected.
What about, I have two more instances. What about President Richard Nixon? He had a bit of difficulty too. Have you watched the videos of him?
No, that I have not watched. But I'll tell you something about the election, as you mentioned, Faraz. There was a survey where 53% Americans said they don't want Clinton, they don't want Trump. Mm-hmm. 91% of people under the age of 29 said they need an independent candidate, they don't trust these two people.
What about Bernie Sanders? Are they for him or in your...
No, they were talking about the two main.
Yeah.
And can you imagine 91% of people under 29 say they need an independent candidate. So you see, there the people are very aware, and what's even more interesting, the television focuses on these opinion surveys, which are genuine opinion surveys. Not talking to somebody, you know, in the bus stand and try to come up with some ideas. Interesting, isn't it? 53% of Americans.
And the next bit was when Sir David Frost asked the Shah of Iran how rich he was, and because there was intense speculation that the Shah had spirited away billions of dollars at the time, and we are talking several years ago.
Right.
So a billion must have been worth much more then. And the Shah said, well, Mr. Frost, I'll be happy to exchange my wealth for your wealth. Are you ready? Shall we do it? So I wonder if you watch this clip, you can tell whether the Shah was lying.
Well, they are playing a role. When you are in front of a camera, you play a role. You have a point of view and you try to sell it to your audience. The truth has very little to do with that, because you can interpret any event from a different perspective to put a different spin on it. That's how spin doctors earn their living.
People are no fools. They have the power of the remote.
Exactly. yeah.
They have the power of the remote.
And now it's more difficult because of social media, right? So you tell a lie, the next day it's blasted across Twitter, Facebook, just about everything.
But that's also their opinion, it's not, social media, you can't, I still would appreciate mainstream media. So they can say anything and, attack or insult people, they have no control. Like some other websites, they have no control.
But then what happens is people with opposing points of view, they post, they say this is not true. So they have a dialogue which may not be research based, which not be 100% accurate, but it's like a dipstick.
So they are lost. People get lost, genuinely somebody wants to find a proper viewpoint. It's lost.
But then on the other hand, if you look at mainstream media, they also have a point of view that they're trying to promote, right? So it's not really unbiased reporting.
But you can ask for corrections, like you know whom to approach.
Yes.
That's the...
It's better.
Now also coming back to politicians, now I want to ask now this famous incident where the day before yesterday, John Amartung said, okay, only the people who can afford or the people who are holding higher positions can buy a car. And others don't need. He basically humiliated, insulted the ordinary masses. The last evening, he says, I'm so busy, I say so many things, did I say that? Right? I say so many things, you shouldn't have asked me last evening. What do you think of that?
See, that's a second dimension, mind.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you tell lies to people, especially in front of media, now you have egg on your face. So now you try to cover up by doing something different. But that's because they didn't have a clear point of view. See, if they have researched the market, if they know, if they have measured the opinions of the public, they know what people expect, right? So very often they don't have the training.
So you lost face.
Of course, yeah. You lose face if your mind is not clear about what you want to do and with how you communicate.
But do they realize that they have lost face, or they don't care?
After the fact.
Yeah.
After the fact, right? That again shows that they don't have the 6 dimensions of success that politicians need. Now, I get interviewed by many American radio shows and I tell them, when you vote for somebody, do a mental check on the 6 dimensions: heart, mind, passion, focus, health and body. If they kind of fit, then you have a genuine candidate to vote for. So it's a very practical framework.
We have a viewer who's saying most mainstream media are politically biased. That's what it says. How do you...
Well, you see, it's like a photographer. What's important is not what you don't show as much as what you show. Because out of the landscape, you pick a certain frame of reference, right? And your discussion is around that. Because if you get all the other dimensions involved, it becomes unfocused. So whenever somebody says something, they have a certain point of view.
Or they'll take what they want to listen to, what they want to believe.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
Exactly, yeah. That's human nature, right?
Yes, it is human nature. Can you do things within your program to get people to act equitably?
Yeah, that comes from 2 things. It comes from the heart, where you see, sustainability is doing things which produce sustainable results in the long time. So if you cheat people, if you do wrong things, it's not sustainable. Then with the mind, you are in a position to work out, how can I help these people? What do they need? Then if you have the passion, then you have your gas tank is full.
Right.
And focus is you have a certain objective. You're trying to help your people, your audience to reach that objective. So that's where the 6-dimensional model comes in. Like a sextet. You have 6 instruments, they play together. At certain times, one instrument plays the lead. It's a little bit like that, to use a metaphor from music.
And as we come towards the end of our program, can we just comment on this news? Banda, member of the JVP was arrested and then released on bail.
But I was wondering, all these things happen in Rajagiri.
Yes,
And in
it's
the
all-
previous also,
the
Champik
previous
also
accident,
Rajagiri. They are at Rajagiri. What's happening?
Maybe
What's wrong with Rajagiri?
perhaps it's not designed properly. You think? And what about all these cameras? They only work selectively,
I'm sure it's, if you go, it'll work, right?
and if you do,
They go, it'll work, but not when
certain
or
types
certain
go,
people-
it won't.
See, everything is selective in life, right? We select what we want to focus on, and
so
we
do these
deselect
people,
everything.
politicians, select? We go to Rajagiri and meet with an accident. You think they plan this?
Interesting question. Yes.
So, in your latest one, where you're, we're not going to let you name that plant of yours, but they make Italian food. Now, when in that training program, what do you hope to do to those staff there? How will that your training reflect back on the service that Bandal and I get when we go and have these
See,
Italian
when
food?
you go to a restaurant or to a hotel, what you remember is not so much the food. What you remember is the energy of the people who served you. That
Yeah.
is the key, right? So what I do is I get rid of this. These are not very highly qualified people, but they have the power that we all have. So what I do is to unleash the power that they were born with. So the passion that they keep, passion is found only in bottles in Sri Lanka, right? Because the passion that we were born with gets ridiculed and very often punished as a child, right? So what I do is I help people to unleash that passion. So when they talk to you, they are alive. You see, they have a very vibrant energy field. That's what I do. So whether they are making pizzas or whether they are selling banking services or microfinance, it's the same thing. What you're passionate about, you do to the best of your ability. And
Doctor-
you become like a magnet.
Dr. Asoka Jinadasa, it's been very good. Thank you very much for being on Newsline. And I hope that Bandula has enjoyed the program as much as I have. But in the meantime, goals give you more than a reason to get up in the morning. They are an incentive to keep you going all day. Have an amazing day today. Take care and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.